Yo, what's good, everybody? This your boy Trez. I'm just getting this thing fired up over here, waiting to maybe get some peoples on the onlines, see how that's doing, that kind of dealy. But hope everybody's doing well out there. That's one of the things I concerns me is how we're all doing during these trying times. I'm just hopping on because I got a couple things I wanna say, a couple things I want to share, that kind of deal. Um, but throwing it out there, seeing what's up. Hope everybody's doing well. First and foremost, um, man, lots been going on with this little dealy. Like I said, I've been wanting to talk about a couple of things. One of the things that oops, that's not it. I wanted to pull up a video that I was given and share with you guys. Um, that was about some math that this guy Dave Asprey did. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Dave Asprey, but he's a Dave Asprey is a what you call it biohacker. And what's up, Slam Man? He's a biohacker, and he's a scientist of sorts. And he did a very eloquent piece when it comes to the coronavirus and the math that they use for this thing that they've been using. And I just wanted to try and find that and share with you guys briefly. I think it's a very eloquent piece, looking into the whole situation. Geez, I can't find it now. Typical. Should have had it brought up beforehand, but you know, um, let me try and locate this. But yo, let me know what you guys are thinking out there. Let's get this all done. 9 people in Canada. Hey, what's up, Tracy? Hope you're doing good. We halfway done with the plague, and then I start. Yeah, no, dude, this plague. This ain't over, buddy. This ain't over there, pally. Let me get to these. Trying to get to my messages. That's where this is. This video. But yeah, how you guys doing? How's everybody holding up during this little situation? How are we surviving? Let me know. Tell me, how you guys handling this little deal? They're telling us 30 more days. Yeah, they're telling us 30 more days of this little deal. Can't believe it, you know? Here we go. Inbox. Get it to me, baby. Has anybody been experiencing slow internet? Has anybody been experiencing, it looks like T-Mobile merged with Sprint? Is that what I saw? There's a big fallout in their their services and stuff like that. People couldn't get anywhere. Here we go. There it is. Copy that and put it in a new tab. Yeah, has anybody been experiencing any problems? Cheese Whiz and Triscuits. That's how you're getting through. Nice. Oh, cheese. Hey, them Cheese Whiz. That's the biz right there. Straight from the can, baby. I appreciate that, John. This is bedhead. You. All right. So let me just load this video up. Did they take the fucking video down? Where are we at? Okay. Let me get this thing. All right. Queued up. I think this is gonna be just it's gonna be a little bit, this video, but I think it's worth it. I think it's definitely worth the look. Boo bam, that going. And then I'll put this up. Oops. Let me just do this real quick. Wait, hold on. I must stop this real quick. And let me try this again. Sorry, guys. This stuff is all new to me. Trying to figure this mess out. There you go. That's the button I wanted to share the audio. All right. So this is Dave Asprey, and Dave Asprey again is the dude is he's a very intelligent guy, biohacker. So he's going to talk about the math. I'm going to run this video here real quick.
You guys ready to talk about pandemic math? Turns out that in every single pandemic that's ever been recorded, mortality estimates decline over time. And there's a serious math reason for that. And you have to understand this. There's 4 things that control pandemic math. Number 1.
I like how he draws like a damn near perfect circle. Like, can anybody pull that? You guys able to hear this? Let me know.
And it turns out that we know that number. It's very easy to predict. And the next one, though, is the magic number. And this is one that is very, very hard to predict. So I'm going to draw it in light blue for you. And that is, the magic number is how many people are infected. This includes people with no symptoms. You will never know the magic number at the beginning. And this is why the media goes nuts. This is why fear runs rampant, because of the magic number. And here's what it is.
Oh, Jesus. Where the hell is that?
The next one, though.
Oops. I don't know what the hell.
So those are people who are sick, but don't know it. They don't go to the doctor. They don't report it. They get better.
Thank you.
Just never get counted. And then you have another number, which is a big one that everyone pays a lot of attention to. And that is the total number of people who are infected, people who get sick and self-report. And that's this number.
I think this is important to look at when
little purple one in the middle. Those are a number of people who have actually reported that they are sick and maybe have been tested. And then there's another number that no one likes, and that is the one in the middle. How many people actually die? The WHO usually looks at a total population, people who get sick and report it, and people who die. In other words, they ignore this blue number because you can't know that up front, and you probably never will know it, but you'll at least get closer to knowing it. Plus, if a disease targets people with pre-existing conditions like COVID, even knowing the number of people who are going to die from normal flu instead of the new virus is impossible. But it's unlikely that the COVID virus is going to ignore people who are already weak and were targets for the flu virus. So we're going to have some overlap there that also cannot be measured or counted. Now, if you're questioning this, do you remember the H1N1 swine flu? In 2009, we all lost our shit when the WHO said the mortality rate was 1 to 1.3%, since they only knew how many people died and the number of people who got sick and self-reported. 2 numbers they knew. They knew the purple number and they knew the black number, and we all went nuts.
This is cooking the books.
4 years later, when they had all the data, the WHO revised the mortality rate from 1.3% to 0.02%. I'm going to write that down for you. 1.3 down to 0.02%.
That's pretty drastic, eh?
I'll do the division for you in your head. They reduced the mortality rate by 65 times.
And they're talking about 100,000 to 200,000.
65 times. Now,
dying here in the States.
Is that going to happen with COVID-19? Almost certainly. And why? Here's an example. A researcher out of Harvard estimated that 40 to 70% of the world is going to get infected with COVID-19. But he says very clearly, this is total people infected, including those with no symptoms. In other words, he's guessing at the magic number. But if you did the media pandemic math, you take 70% of people, that's 7 billion people. That means 4.3% are going to die. That's an inflated rate because they're only looking at these two. That's 200 million people dead. If you believe that, you're going to prepare for the apocalypse, buy a chainsaw in a bunker, but really you just be bad at pandemic math.
Still get a chainsaw,
almost
though.
No one is saying that. Because no one knows the magic number of how many people are infected with no symptoms, this blue thing. But since up to 80% of people are going to have no symptoms or mild symptoms, I think we can deal with this. In fact, an overseas employee of one of my companies just had COVID-19, as did his wife and kids. He described it as like a mild flu, but more chesty. They weathered it at home for a few days, and they're all now well, and they're all immune. So they're better equipped to serve their community because they're not going to get it again. But if we want more data, we could look at South Korea, who leads the world in testing. So they have the best data on how many people actually have COVID. Basically, the South Korean blue magic number is the closest we have to a real number to do real pandemic math. The South Korea reported death rate is 0.9%. It's the one I'd bet on is the most accurate, even though most people smoke like chimneys there, and smoking's a major risk factor. Yours is not going to be average if you don't smoke, for instance. You could then say, why is China's Hubei region reporting 4.6%? The reason for that is pretty straightforward. The collapse and overwhelm of the likely not that amazing hospital system there, combined with a population that smokes like chimney. It's not a good number. But there are other doctors like Dr. Richard Shabas, who's very credible because he was Ontario's chief medical officer. That's basically a state in Canada, so a big deal, for 10 years. And he was chief of staff at a major hospital during SARS. He says that the COVID-19 pandemic is a global crisis for people who can't add. And looking at the data, he estimates that the magic number here, this blue number of people who get sick and don't know it, get this, is 20 times the number of reported cases. He concludes his piece in the Globe and Mail saying that COVID looks like an overall burden comparable to influenza. So we should keep, and this is a direct quote, keep quarantine back where it belongs in the Middle Ages. So what does this all mean for you? Number one, chill. You have a greater than 50% chance of getting COVID. You have an 80% chance that if you do get it, you'll think you have a cold or you don't even know you have it. You can quarantine like I am for a few weeks to give hospitals time to catch up and to support our elders and people in the community who are vulnerable, people who are immunocompromised, people who are obese, people who don't take care of themselves, etc. But the world isn't going to end. After you get COVID-19, you'll be immune just like you're supposed to be, just like we have been throughout all of history. And then you can go back to hugging, handshaking, buying groceries for people not healthy enough to go out during any cold or flu season, including this one. Take a deep breath, understand. You can delay when you get it. You're probably going to get it, and you're probably going to be fine. Just give yourself time. And if you do get it, or there's a tiny chance you get it because you have one of the symptoms that I posted on Instagram that you'll find all over the place, take a couple weeks. Don't go get coffee. Don't go into the office. Isolate yourself. And that will do more for all of the people that you know and love who might be at risk, and all the people you don't know and maybe don't love, but maybe could, who are also at risk. So be kind, be cautious.
All right, cool. So that's my deal over here. Looking at all this stuff is we are back to, we need to take a look at the numbers and how they're presenting this to all of us. It's easy for them to run away. I keep seeing video and video, more and more of old boy or people, I'm sorry, out over at the hospitals in New York, and they're not nearly as busy or anything that they're saying. Who do we believe? What's going on out there? I know people personally that have people and Facebook friends and stuff, but people I talk to are saying they have people that are severely in dire need. A couple of people have mentioned that they've had some friends die, people they personally know die from this. I'm not downplaying that, but when I saw there was a when I saw that there was a my wife watches Instagram. She's on she's following people on Instagram, and there was this nurse in Alabama that was over there, and she was just going off on how crazy and how insane and stuff. And I just happened to be scrolling through and looking at the numbers, and I was like, unless all those people are in her hospital, this one hospital, like it doesn't, the numbers didn't add up unless it's just being overwhelmed and they couldn't report it. I don't know, but I do know sensationalism sells, when it comes to this stuff. And it's kind of on the backs of other people, which is like really messed up. But what is this you got here over here? How about the virus changing DNA a little every time it changes the host, still immune when it comes back around? That's one of the things. This is man-made. This is come out of a lab. It was crossed with a whole bunch of different stuff, so it is actually human to human transferable. But they're saying there's 4 places that it attacks, that they're finding out. So they're respiratory, your nasal, your bowels, and they are talking about the testicles. They're finding out it's sterilizing men, and this is tending to target men. It kind of seems like if you were in a evil plan and a plot and world government, right? It kind of plays into all that when you look at like you're afraid of the overpopulation, so this thing goes out and it seems to seems to attack the immune compromised. It seems to go after the old, and men and sterilizing. It's like you're getting rid of another generation. That's one of the things, like Japan, China, Italy, all these places, and there's other places too, slowly eventually us, they're having problems with the amount of people, the next generation. People aren't having kids. Usually stuff like this, though, usually when something like this, when a species is threatened, we tend to breed more. This happens with bugs. Not to equate us to bugs, but this happens, but wouldn't it be a good plan? You start getting the men are sick, the viable working, is sick. This would be a way to, as it has, it's totally crippled us. Look at us as a country. Ultimately, we're land of the free. Shit, this is the town square now. Land of the free. We can't even assemble. Shit, dude. All I gotta do is shut off this shit, and we can't even communicate. Other than we got each other's numbers. Hopefully. Fuck. What are we gonna do? Smoke signals and shit, dude. Passenger pigeons. Fuck, man. I'm looking at the pigeons as a food source right now. Let alone they might be the way to carry the message out. Who knows? But seriously, just look at it. You're like, look what's like going on, and all under the guise of like, safety. And I get it. A lot of people don't want to hear this. A lot of people don't want to address this, and it was being talked about today on Alex Jones's show, InfoWars, and other people have been talking about it. And I've always watched the Q movement, and I've always wanted to support it as far as, if they are arresting high-level elite pedophiles and all that stuff that I've followed for years, stuff that we've called out, me and a group of other people, been calling out why Epstein got off in the first place on the first deal and there's other deals and stuff, and who he was tied into. It was like, yo, this guy's a known pedophile. Why these people, There's like, been talking about all this stuff. And Q, one of the things Trump did say, he said he was going after these pedophile rings. So then the whole Q movement kind of gets around that. And one of the things about it is, to me, it's just a lot of stand down. And that's what was being talked about today. So right now, what I'm getting at, and I posted a meme where it was from that movie with The Rock and the kids. It's like the end of the world. I can't remember, but he's in the cab and he looks back at the girl and he goes, "How bad is it?" And the girl goes, "We have anarchists asking people to obey the state." You have patriots, people who are all about, their constitutional rights bellying up right now. And I'm not saying taking arms, take to the streets, but maybe a little reassessment in our rights. You know what I mean? I'm not saying go out and be reckless by any means. There is a virus out there and it is spreading. This has been a bad flu season, but at the same time, this is kind of getting just a little ridiculous how we're We're really not questioning. We're just following along, and that's just a recipe for trouble, man. You know, I mean, shit, dude. All the stuff that they packed into the bill, the stimulus bill. I'm gonna say right now, gold guns in a getaway plan, like Gerald Celente says. Get ready, this shit's coming down, guys. But that's just my little 2 cents, little 20-minute pop. Stop in here, give a little daily think stop. Be it a pandemic, PlanDemic, or a ScamDemic, either way, we're all victims. None of us did any of this shit. We're all suffering, and we're all gonna have to pull together and fight this one way or the other. I'm gonna say right now, before I sign off, though, we really need to look at our politicians. These assholes you support, a lot of these people we support, have been signing these bullshit globalist deals that have made our country 100% dependent on China and other countries for our medical supplies, and that there is fucking treasonous. This has been happening over and over and over. Here we go. There's the saying: there's a high price for a low cost. We got fucked, y'all. And this is what they're doing. I'm going to come back later on. I'm going to get into this. I'm going to get more organized and have this shit ready for a little bit more prime time, baby. Other than that, peace, love, take care of yourself. It is beautiful outside. Go out, get some vitamin D. At least here in Vegas is beautiful. And, think, stop them. Peace.